Welcome to my channel where I just teach the Bible. That's all we do here, teach the Bible. And I'm doing a whole bunch of little mini messages, I call them power verses, on the idea, a biblical idea of faith. Oh, it's critical. It's critical. Now, I hope you'll subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified every time I put something out. I put a couple things a day out, usually. And give me thumbs up, make comments, share the video with someone, tell someone about it. Help them watch it so that they can get taught the Bible the way it should be taught. I drove, this a long time ago, a 1992 Mitsubishi Galant for a couple of years, paid it off. Then we gave it to our daughter to go to college. And then you know what happened? The engine blew up. We had a non-operational engine, and the engine had to be replaced. Lots of people's lives have a non-operational faith, which will not drive their life. And you need to have a faith that will drive your life. I want to show you how to have an operational faith capable of driving your life, which is how your life needs to be driven. Romans 4:22 speaks of Abraham. Therefore, his faith was reckoned to him as righteousness. An operational faith like Abraham had is reckoned to a person as righteousness. In fact, the mark of an operational faith is that it always is reckoned as righteousness or right standing with God to the person who has it. It's the nature of an operational faith. So how does an operational faith work? Well, first, this is about Abraham, okay? Romans 4:19 said, he did not weaken in his faith when he considered his own body, which was already as good as dead, for he was about 100 years old, or when he considered the barrenness of Sarah's womb. Now, Abraham did not allow his circumstances to weaken his faith. Do you allow your circumstances to weaken your faith? Sometimes we do, and that negates an operational faith. God promised Abraham a son, and he promised him a son from Sarah. He was 100 years old, and Sarah was 90 years old when the promise came to be. The circumstances for having a son didn't seem good. Old guys like that and old women like that don't have babies, right? Okay, but the first thing, he didn't allow the circumstances to negate his faith. Second, Romans 4:20 says, no distrust made him waver concerning the promise of God, but he grew strong in his faith and gave glory to God. Like we all would, Abraham had a time when he wondered how God would work out his promise. You know what? If it's a promise of God, it's not up to you and me. It's up to God. We need to trust him with it. That's what Abraham did. He did not allow distrust to get him off track. He just believed the promise of God, which is what we all need to do. Third, Romans 4:21, being fully convinced that he was able to do what he had promised, that God could do what he had promised. Abraham was 75 years old when God promised him a son. You know how long he waited? He waited 25 years until he was 100 for God to provide. He always was convinced that God would provide. So how did Abraham get an operational faith? What were the keys to his operational faith? Number one, he did not allow circumstances to weaken his trust in God. We need to go there, okay? Second, he did not allow distrust to disarm his faith. He just believed God. That's what we need to do. Third, he was fully convinced that God was able to fulfill his promise. You know why? God's God. We're not him. He can do anything he wants. And if he made a promise to you, he'll fulfill it. We need to understand that. So always know that God will keep his promises to you. The circumstance, the distrust or doubt must never negate God's capacity to keep his promise. In fact, it will not. So trust him, believe him, and he'll pull you through. You'll have an operational faith. See him that way. See God that way, and you will have a functional, operational faith. Bless you. I will talk to you tomorrow.